Hello, everybody. We're gonna call together, call to order rather, the Conservation Commission meeting on today, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025 at 4:30. I'm Taryn McGregor.
Dorothy Finlay.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty, so we are here to discuss and act on notice of the Coastal Resources Management Council, discussing and acting on an advisory regarding application 2025-06-090. The Block Island Club is seeking to expand its existing previously permitted CRMC file number 1995-02-026 residential boating facility in Type 1 waters, conservation areas. The originally permitted configuration allowed for 1,920 square feet of timber floats, which were comprised of three separate sections: a 240 square foot dinghy float, a 240 square foot swim float, and a 1,440 square foot main dock. The current float configuration is now limited to a main dock that is comprised of six floats that total 1,536 square feet that are deployed seasonally. And we are here to make this response due by October 9th, 2025. And Sue has written an incredible letter.
I didn't write the whole thing.
Well, it details things very specifically, and I think that the part that stuck out to me especially is that there's an indication on the application, or the advisory rather, that indicates that this is not a historical site, and that you have indicated there that it is under the jurisdiction of the Great Salt Pond Archaeological Space. And so if you want to talk just about whatever you feel called to, but that was something that I thought was very important.
Sure. I have that's in here from my perspective, just as a fact that the club application indicates it's not within the historic district. And it's not in terms of the downtown historic district on Block Island,
Right.
but it is indeed in the Great Salt Pond Archaeological District. It's just a fact. That's all. I don't know if it makes a lot of difference here, but it's just a fact on the application.
Yeah.
It's
important to note though.
So do we want to read this letter? Has everybody had a chance to read this letter? Do you want me to read it out loud?
If you want to read it, you can read it.
We need to come to agreement as a board if this is the tack we want to take, and if this is the letter we want to send to CRMC. We have until October 9th to send a letter. So it's up to you guys. I'm happy to read it out loud if you think that might be helpful.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. So John, you with us?
We'll hear you.
You're right there. Okay. All right. So it says, to Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Council, the subject is our objection to CRMC application number 2025-06090, which is the proposed project at 136 Corn Neck Road. Dear members of the Coastal Resources Management Council, we are writing, hope if I wear my glasses, to formally object to the application by the Block Island Club for the proposed project at 136 Corn Neck Road, identified by the file number. This is an assent request after the fact in Type 1 waters by a private recreational boat facility that can also be characterized as a marina. We are an affected party as the town of New Shoreham established the Conservation Commission to promote and develop the natural resources of the town, to protect its watershed resources, and to preserve natural aesthetic areas within the town and adjacent waters. We have reviewed the application and are concerned about the violation of the legal process for the management of coastal resources, the misrepresentation of the nature of the work and its site by the Block Island Club, and the continuing private encroachment upon public waters by a private entity, and its potential negative impacts on the Great Salt Pond, especially by the expansion of space for motorboats. The public notice dated September 9th came before the Conservation Commission on September 16th. And after discussion involving a member of the public, the commission voted unanimously to object to CRMC application 2025-06090 and delegated a subgroup to draft the objection. There was one other person in the audience who seemed to have been sent by the Block Island Club, but this gentleman was not empowered by the club to make comments or address any questions. Our primary concerns and objections are based on the following substantive issues. 1, violation of the legal process for the management of Rhode Island's coastal resources. That one, which is 1.1.3.A.1, says all developments or operations within, above, or beneath the tidal waters below the mean high water mark, extending out to the extent of the state's jurisdiction in the territorial sea, and those occurring on coastal features or within all directly associated contiguous areas which are necessary to preserve the integrity of coastal resources, or any portion of which extends onto the most inland shoreland feature or its 200-foot contiguous areas, or as otherwise set out in the CRMC management program, require a council assent. That's from CRMC. The work was taken without assent, as the applicant states in attachment B, special exception narrative. This is from the club. The Block Island Club is applying for an assent so that it can continue to utilize a float plan that was previously used from 2017 until 2023. The plan, the result of a dock reconfiguration and expansion plan undertaken by a committee of the club's governing board at the time, represented a significant expansion beyond the permitted coverage area under the 1995 and 2000 assents on file. The committee and board of the day mistakenly failed to seek the required pre-authorization from the State of Rhode Island Coastal Management Resources Council. The BIC is aware that because the club is located in Type 1 waters on the shore of the Great Salt Pond, it must demonstrate a compelling purpose. 2, misrepresentation of the nature of the work and its site by the Block Island Club. The application for assent incorrectly checks a box indicating that the site is not within a historical district. The site very much falls into the Great Salt Pond Archaeological District. The application for assent incorrectly checks a box indicating that the application is not being submitted in response to a coastal violation. The dock reconfiguration and expansion plan is clearly a coastal violation. The work was carried out in 2017 without any permitting. 3, the continuing private encroachment upon public waters by a private entity. We do not argue against the fact that the Block Island Club provides valuable activities and lessons for adults and children, or that discounts are provided for year-round families. Nevertheless, the Block Island Club is a private entity with membership requirements, not a freely open public facility or a community recreational facility. The land and buildings are privately owned, and their encroachment into Type 1 waters without CRMC assent is equal to any private owner along the Great Salt Pond or waterfront doing the same. Expansion of private docking facilities, regardless of the quality of programming, does not represent compelling public purpose. 4, potential negative impacts on the Great Salt Pond, especially by the expansion of space for motorboats. The 2017 increase in dock and floating dock space at the Block Island Club has increased the dockage and ease of powerboat usage in Type 1 waters. We believe that the subsequent risk to these waters and precedent set by expansion without permitting overshadows the increase in convenience for club members to utilize an expanded facility. For the reasons listed above, we believe that the application does not meet the standards required for approval by the CRMC, and that failure to object on the part of the New Shoreham Conservation Commission would compromise the integrity of our mission. We respectfully request that the council review this matter at a public hearing and deny the application. So, discussion.
I had just one point. I did notice under misrepresentation of nature of the work and its site by the Block Island Club.
Yep.
I do agree with the second point about the lack of the check on that box for, not following the licensing, in the past. However, I think, I think maybe that the heritage box should also be checked, but there was a letter. Um, I believe there was a letter from the
Well,
council for, the heritage, if I can pull it up.
yep. Yeah, we can, I mean, if this is not accurate, we'll take it.
I just want to make sure the wording's
Right,
correct.
yeah, if it's not accurate, we'll take it out.
When I was looking at the club's application to the CRMC, I believe they requested a letter from Amy, also from the Block Island. I don't remember the exact name of the council, the Heritage Resources. So I think they signed off on saying that it was an archaeological site, but that they didn't feel that there was any.
Oh, right. I know what you saw in there now. I
Yes,
saw
it-
that too. It does talk about one of their previous applications, I believe, right?
Yeah. Because there was one, they were looking for.
Right. Historical Preservation and Heritage concluded that the project will have no effect on any significant cultural resources. So they have that answer, which means this probably doesn't matter. Nevertheless, they are part of that archaeological
Yeah.
district. If it's not important, I don't think it's, frankly, I don't think it's important either way, because it's just a checkbox. I think it's a fairly small notation. They did indeed, where it was noted, but nevertheless, if you're being completely accurate on your application, you should say you're part of that archaeological district and not that you're not, I guess.
I think that's important.
Right.
I think it's important
Okay.
for the CRMC to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wasn't sure about the wording in terms of. They had gotten a letter, but
Right. Yeah, I
The
don't,
box should still
I
be
mean,
checked.
I think that all that would probably happen there through CRMC if it's re-questioned is they would say, yes, sorry, we are part of that archaeological district, but we have a letter that says we're not having any impact.
yeah.
So I think both things remain accurate.
Okay.
I guess. So, anyone else have discussion or changes they want to make or things they're not comfortable with, or our deadline is October 9th on this, so we can restructure, we can change this letter based on the interest of the board.
I think it's fine. I think it's good. And I think the one thing that you brought up, which I think is really important, is setting a precedent. This is a private organization doing this. What's to stop any landowner from doing it? And we know that too often things happen and then bad you, and then it gets approved. And so it teaches people, don't ask permission, do it, and then beg forgiveness and keep it.
Right.
And I think that we need to,
Well,
whatever happens, we need to at least try to maintain that integrity.
yeah, I don't frankly have any idea if our letter will have an impact on CRMC. They don't have to follow through on anything we say, frankly, as an advisory board. But one of the things I think is most important for me is that given the nature of this application and given regardless of the value of the Block Island Club, I'm very familiar with the Block Island Club. I grew up there myself, took all the sailing lessons, did all that stuff. But we as the Conservation Commission, part of our mission is to protect exactly these things. And if we were not to object to this, I think we're compromising our mission, frankly.
I agree with Sue. I think it's a very well researched letter. Having used the club myself, okay, I understand the value, okay, to the community.
So I've got no vendetta against the club. We have no
No.
vendetta here at all.
Though in the letter you said that as well, and it's after all of the facts that have been gathered, and it just is just genuinely unbiasedly presenting.
Okay,
The
well,
facts.
that's the hope.
Yeah, and I think that it was succinct and said very well.
So do we have to make a motion or something that this is the
approve
letter?
letter perhaps?
Yeah, there's one change, if you have it in your hands, on the last page, we need to change the word my to our. Thank you for your time and consideration of our
Oh.
concerns. Just a
Correct.
typo.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
last page,
the-
right above.
Sign off.
Yes, literally the last sentence in
One
the
typo.
Yeah.
Very last sentence.
The very last sentence has the word my in it, and it shouldn't.
And do we know if anybody else is objecting to this?
And we don't know. Doesn't matter really,
No idea.
probably, right?
But you should make a motion and vote on.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve submitting this letter to consideration by the CRMC on behalf of the Conservation Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
I need a second.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I need a second.
I second.
All right. I always forget the second.
Aye.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Was anyone opposed?
Wonderful.
Okay. I was wondering, who wrote that letter?
Hmm?
Who wrote that letter?
Three of us, Taryn, me, and Carlos,
And Carlos?
originally, but he passed it over because Carlos has identified himself also a potential conflict. And so he had stepped away. Yes. But he's not so that's why he's not here right now, because of a potential conflict of interest because of land ownership near the club. But I finished it, took it today.
Okay, if that's all, is that all?
Okay,
All right, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was quick.
That was short and sweet.
That was lovely.